Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Men Nation Podcast. This is episode 5 of Men Nation Podcast. And today is December 26th, the day after Christmas. And I'm very excited that we're able to do this podcast. I'm actually away from my studio, away from home, out of town. And not only that, but we have a very special guest on the show here today um, that, we're going to be discussing some awesome topics here on the show. We've connected online, and this is what it's all about. It's all about connecting with other men out there, and really not just in one country, but throughout the world, and being able to share what God puts in our hearts, and being able to empower other men to speak about some of those things. So without further ado, I just want to welcome my good friend Joaquin Terrero from the Dominican Republic, actually from Aruba. So welcome, Joaquin. Say hello.
Yeah, hello to your community. I'm so happy to be here and having this opportunity to share some value with your audience, man.
Yeah, I'm really excited, Joaquin. Thank you so much for accepting the invitation. It's been crazy the way you and I have connected online. I know that it's a divine connection, ordained by
Definitely.
God. Yeah, and we're able to connect and able to do this. We had some obstacles, trying to get everything going. Like I said, I'm remotely, and so are you, Joaquin. Right? You're not at home right at this moment.
Way far from home, yeah.
Yeah, so we're both far away from home. It's December 26th, the day after Christmas. Um, but here we are. Here we are, because
Yeah,
this is what it's about, living our purpose, living at our highest potential. That means, I was just talking to my wife about this yesterday, is no matter what happens, we have to continue. We have to keep going with what, that purpose that we have for our lives. So
yeah, because sure, look, we have plenty of excuses now that we could use for not making this happen this year.
right,
We have a lot of meet and greets with the family.
right.
Uh, so yeah, we just follow through and we let it flow. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that exactly. I mean, you're absolutely right. So many excuses we can use. I mean, I don't know
Yeah.
if the microphone's picking it up, but I can hear my kids running around out there in the living room in the background.
Yeah, it's family
You know,
time, man.
yeah, but I'm glad we're able to do this. So, yeah, welcome to. I really appreciate you being on Men Nation podcast. It's been a journey. It's been a crazy few weeks. I mean, since the last podcast that I released till today, a lot of things have happened, and because of that, I want to talk about a topic that I think is very important, and that is self motivation. I want to talk about us as men, as the leaders of our home. How do we find that self motivation? Because I know for myself, Joaquin, sometimes what happens to me is I I'm very motivated, and
Yeah,
either I listen to a video, a podcast, or a message, and I feel empowered and I feel motivated and I'm ready to go, and I have all
yeah,
these ideas, and here we go, and I'm a hard charger. But then things happen in life that begin to distract me, and they begin to bring me down, or I allow them to bring me down, and then little by little I begin to lose that motivation. And even for things like
definitely.
this, like for this podcast, and then start letting it go, and, well, I'm not going to do it this week, or I'm not going to do it, or I have bigger things to worry about. And I want you, Joaquin, if you can talk to us a little bit about your journey and kind of how you've overcome those struggles, as far as just keep going, keep staying motivated on the path. I know you do some other things on the side. I was checking out your business, right, that you have out there, which it looks like it's related to fitness and health. And
Yes.
talk to us about how you overcome some of that, and how you just keep going, man.
Well, basically trying to look at those struggles and obstacles like the beauty of it. Because once I start seeing it in that way, I understood that that was what was making me stronger. And every situation that I found was hard for me at that time. I just said, "Wow, I wish I could be stronger." Not that the situation, I wish it could be lighter for me,
Right.
but I knew it was meant to make me a better person. It was not just there to stop me. It was just
Right.
testing me. And like Les Brown used to say, a really well-known motivational speaker, I believe you follow it also.
I do. I do. Yeah.
Yeah, he normally said that those situations are happening there for us, not to
Right.
us. Because when we look at it like, oh, this is happening to me, we sound like victims and we put ourselves in that position right away. But when we look at it like, okay, this situation is happening for me. What do I mean by that? For me, for my development, for the better me, for my better version, for my best. So trying
Right.
to see it with that perspective helped me a lot to stay consistent and trying to search for different ways, like you just mentioned, watching motivational videos, reading a great book. Those are really good sources that
Right.
allows you to stay on track and to stay motivated, because we cannot believe that we will stay 1 week or 1 month with that fire, with that motivation. No, no, it's up and down. So it's part of it.
Right.
It's like a shower. No, you don't
Yeah.
shower yourself, your body for 1 week and that's it. No, you do it two times a day. So you stay with that vibe. So I
Yeah.
believe motivation is also the same.
That's super powerful, Joaquin, what you're talking about right now. I mean, you touched on two amazing, powerful points. So the first one in regards to your perspective on how you see those situations or obstacles or problems or challenges, whatever you want to call it. And really, we need to have a paradigm shift, a change of our mindset, and begin to call them opportunities for growth.
Yeah,
Like yours, that's exactly what you're saying. It's an opportunity for us to grow through it. Yeah, and that's what Les Brown says. Don't wish it was easier. Wish you were better. Or don't wish for less
exactly.
problems, but wish for more skills. And that's something that what you said. Something that I struggled for such a long time growing up. I was very very shy as a kid.
Yeah,
I didn't speak up. I avoided problems at all cost. Anytime a situation came up that was like a problem or a conflict, I just wanted to avoid it. I didn't know how to face it head on. And that's something that God has been taking me through. And I've been learning too these past, just this year, that God's been taking me and putting me in situations to challenge me and for me to say,
yeah,
just like you're saying, hey, this is not something for me to avoid necessarily. This is something, an opportunity for me to grow. And when we begin to change our minds about that, then we begin to really become better as men and begin to grow to our full potential. And that's really you know, I want to say, I was going to say it's a cultural thing, but then again, it's probably we just all experience it, all of us as men, no matter what culture you come from or background. I think that as men, we're fixers, we're logical thinkers, and we
hmm
just, okay, let me fix the problem, boom, get it out of the way and let's go, or hey,
yeah,
this is too much drama or whatever. but
yeah,
but yeah, like you're saying, I mean, it begins to grow our skills, and we become better as men. So that's a
yeah,
super important paradigm shift that I think the first topic that you talked about, in regards to not wishing that you avoided it or not wishing that the problem wasn't there, but just wishing that um, you yourself, us, are better, or can grow through
yeah.
it.
Exactly. That's why we take the time every now and then to do these kind of things, to uh, put ourselves in a position to grow, like this meeting that we have at this moment. These are
Right.
things that allow us to, okay, let's get better, let's get better, let's connect, let's interact, let's share. Because thanks to these situations, now we know that we have a responsibility to use our abilities or talents, however we want to call it, to help others, no? To share
Right.
with others, to see, because we don't know at the end of the day who's watching us, who's listening to us, who can be having you as an example, who's following you. You really don't know. Even though you can have only 10 followers on Instagram, those 10 followers are watching you every day. And there is something in you that connects with them, and they
Right.
feel empowered in one way or another. So why hanging out? Why like settle down? No, no, no. Stay focused, man, and give that value to those 10 people or to those 100,000 that you may have. But just stay focused and do what you believe is required based on your ability and based what works the best for you.
Yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely. That's super important. I've had several people reach out already and send me messages, and even just complete strangers through
Yeah,
the podcast through Anchor, which is what I use to distribute the podcast. People just reach out, hey, I just heard this episode of your podcast, that was awesome. Or I've had even friends, hey, I really needed to hear what you talked about today, and that really helps motivate me. And another thing,
definitely.
yeah, another thing too that you said that I think was very very key to what we're talking about right now is, like you said, it's not gonna be like you're gonna stay on this high day in day out. You're gonna,
Hmm.
you're gonna have those days where you're gonna, come down, and it's, but I heard a quote once that said something like this, and I don't remember where I heard it or who said it, but it said something like, a truly happy person knows that there's going to be good days and there's going to be some bad days. But just because you
Powerful.
have those bad days doesn't mean that you're unhappy. You're happy overall, but you understand that there's going to be those ups and those downs. And then, like you said, that shower. You can't take a shower one day and then think you're going to be good for the rest of the week. It has to be something that's got to be a daily thing, a daily
Yes,
thing. So yeah, and this is what it's all about, is just going back into it, finding a way to find that drive again, finding your purpose, finding your motivation to keep going, to bettering yourself as a person, as an individual. So
powerful. Yes.
yeah, so I think it is like it is a change of mindset, because we get stuck a lot of the times in a rut, thinking, like you said, this is happening to me.
Hmm.
What How powerful it is to think about it in a way and say, this is happening for me.
For me,
Wow.
only that those three letters can make a lot of difference.
Wow, three letters that make the world of a difference of how you see it. This is happening to me. No, this is happening for me. For
Yeah,
me.
because it make you think and act in a conscious way, and that's the hard part for all of us that are trying to make a better change for our life. That we are trying to progress every day, to stay
Right.
conscious of everything which is happening at the moment, everything we're doing, our thoughts. Because when we let it unconscious and we just let our body and our mind reacts to everything, it reacts like in a protection mode, you know so
Right.
it comes a bad vibe. It tries to protect themselves to run from it. So right away, the body, the mind will run from it. Instead of, no, let's breathe, stay quiet, focus, let's face it. But for doing that, we need to be conscious. So that's the hard part, of course, at the
Wow.
beginning, to
Yeah.
stay conscious. But then later on, it becomes something, routinary, more monotony for us.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I mean, that's another awesome point, is that most of the things that we go through in life and the way we respond, if we're like you're saying, if we're not conscious about how we're responding almost by default,
Mm,
and that default is, being down, thinking about it in a negative way. This is what's happening to me. um but when you begin to see it, hey, I'm being conscious about this, that this is good, this is something that's going to help me, then you're more aware of what's happening.
mm-hmm.
I was dealing with a situation actually just last night, and as I was standing there, listening to conversation and the discussion, I was thinking to myself, and this is one example of how I was a little bit more conscious about how I'm responding, is I thought to myself, you know what, maybe a year ago, who knows, maybe even 6 months ago, this same situation I would be avoiding at all cost. I would say,
Yeah.
hey, I don't want to talk about this, or I don't want to deal with this. Let me just, go somewhere else. But then I said, wow, I'm being conscious about it. I know that even though it may be a difficult situation or topic to deal with, but you know that it's going to benefit you in one way or another.
Beautiful, beautiful. Love it.
Yeah. So, it's amazing what begins to happen when you're not operating, because a lot of the times, a lot of the things we do in life, they're just almost like automatic, including getting angry, getting sad, feeling
Exactly.
down, and they just happen automatically because over the years as kids or however we grew up, maybe we were told, a certain way, or we thought certain things, and so, oh, this happened to me, automatically you get angry or sad, instead of thinking about it as an opportunity. um, what
Exactly. And
Yeah.
try to run away. We can run away from that emotion. I mean, you can get angry because that's the first response to our body. Okay, I get angry. But for how long should I stay here? I mean, is it healthy for me to stay in this state of mind?
Yeah.
Is it good for me if I want to reach my goal and if I want to keep feeding my motivation? Is it good for me to stay angry for that long? I used to struggle a lot with this. And believe me, it's an everyday process. We have
Right.
those temptations every day, okay, from your colleagues or at your house or with the kids or with friends, you know? So,
Yeah.
like we said, conscious and just being aware that those things at the end they are not healthy for you, you know?
Right. No, yeah, I struggled with it myself too, a lot. When I remember when I first got out of the military, and I got out and I moved back to Texas. I struggled with that so much, with anger. I would get into an angry state, and it was almost like the entire day, the rest of that day, I would spend it
Yeah,
just angry, acting out my anger, hurting other people, hurting those around me, and even being violent at times. Like
yeah, yeah.
the wall, may have had a hole, or something like
Hmm.
that, because I would react, and then, like you say, I would stay in that state of mind all day long. And, like, that's exactly what you're saying. In the Bible, there's a scripture that says, be angry, but sin not. And it's kind of like, well, that's gonna happen. We're human, right? So we may
Exactly.
respond, we may get angry at times, we may but then that consciousness comes in and says, wait a minute, I have a choice. I don't have to stay like this. I don't have to stay down. I can change my way of thinking. I can change my perspective. And it's not necessarily what happens to you, but it's how you react to that situation.
Definitely, completely agree.
Yeah. So, it's just a reminder. And what would be your suggestion? What would be the best way that you think for those people out there listening to us right now to say, hey, you know what? I struggle with the same thing. I struggle with similar things. Um, what would be the best way to like remind yourself every single day, say, hey, I have a choice in how I'm gonna react. If I'm gonna stay down, or what would be your advice?
Well, something that helped me normally a lot is reminding the reason why I started.
Mm,
Because you can cut up in some distractions during the way that might tell you that, or that maybe might appear to you that you are not in the right path.
right.
And maybe you should be doing something else. That maybe you should be listening to the advice that the people around you are telling you, like, hey man, you're wasting your time. What are you doing? Better follow this instead of doing, because what we're doing basically is creating like a new path so later on other people can follow. So when we go through that road, we will be attacked a lot because it should be easier when we just follow the path of somebody else.
Wow.
You know, it's easier. So it
Yeah.
doesn't take a lot of uh, controversy from other people. They see you doing it and it's normal for them because they saw a lot of people already doing it. But when they see you taking this initiative on your age with the
Yeah.
responsibilities that you have, normally they attack because it's also automatic response. That's why I don't blame them. I understand them, you know.
Right. Right.
But yeah, reminding yourself why you started, what are your main things, keeping the main thing, you know, keeping what is important for you important, having your priorities, and yeah, staying focused, trying to read books about the same topic, trying to write down every morning or every night those reasons why you are doing what you're doing. Also, like we said in the beginning, remembering how many people you might be touching, how
Mm-hmm.
many people at this moment might be having you as an example. They look at you as a role model. Maybe you have younger brothers, maybe you have younger sisters that they
Mm-hmm.
see you, okay, that's the big brother, the big sister. I want to be like her, you know?
Right.
So by you thinking about that, or you maybe you want to make your mama proud, your father proud, or your grandma that just passed away, but you know she's watching you from wherever she is at this moment, you know? So you know that when you are walking, that when you are thriving towards what you believe is the right path, your right destiny, you have all of these things in mind, awareness every day, writing down the things that you're grateful for, writing down your goals. These are preparing a great foundation, believe me. And it's really hard for people then at the end to throw you down, to try to make you change, to try to put you down with negative things. It will be really hard for them. And of course, it will be really easy for you to stay focused and to continue in that good pace.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I knowing your why, I remember when I before I started this podcast, before I started this journey, and I was doing a couple of other things. Like I said, I get distracted a lot, not because just with life situations, and I feel like
Yeah,
sometimes I let that get me down. So before I started this, I sat down. I remember I was at my desk. I sat down and got my notepad, and actually I have it here in front of me right now, that same notepad. And I got my notepad down and I wrote down, what is your why? And what I was asking
yeah,
myself is, what is my why? Like what you're saying, what is my reason for wanting to do this? And I had to stop and think about it for a minute, but then all of a sudden it just clicked in my mind, and I was like, it's easy. My why is easy. And I wrote it down and I said, this is my why. This is why I'm doing this. And I
yeah,
wrote it and it all made sense. It made perfect sense. I'm doing it, number one, because these are my long-term goals, and this is how it's connected to my long-term goals.
yes,
The impact that I want to have on other people, on other men. I want to have a positive impact. I want to be a positive male role model. And then, I want to be able to spend time with my family, just like I'm doing now. We're doing this. It's our passion. It's what we love to do, and we're around our family. We're not
yeah,
off somewhere somewhere else away from them. And so I started writing all these things down, and with that, I mean, it really made a lot of sense. Okay, this is why I'm doing it. And anytime you're absolutely right. Anytime if I get discouraged or anything like that, I go back and remember, what is my why? And that's going to cause me just to continue to keep going. Yeah, that's super important. I'm really glad that you shared that, because knowing your why, and a lot of the times we don't know what is our why do you go to
yeah.
work every day? Why do you want to buy that house? Why do you want to accomplish those things? And sometimes we really don't think about it. We're thinking about it superficially.
Yeah,
um,
exactly. Yes.
but knowing your foundational why, this is my foundational why, I want to do this because whatever it may be, is super important, and it allows you to keep going. So thank you so much
Yeah.
for sharing that.
Yeah, because I mean, we know that the strongest the why is, the better your performance will be, you know? The
Right.
easiest for you will be to stay conscious, like we said in the beginning, to thrive and to continue. Because I heard one one day saying Yokoi Kenji, he's a really great conference guy from Colombia,
Hmm.
and in Japan also. I don't know if you know about him.
I
He's
don't think
really
I've
good.
heard of him. What's his full name?
Yokoi Kenji.
Okay. Okay.
Yokoi Kenji, and he says something about the culture of Colombia. He says, look, when you want to motivate a Colombian person, normally, a normal human being, you should tell them, hey, look, for example, there is a mata de coco, and you say, look, can you get one coco for me? And the person, the Colombian will tell you, yeah, but what are you giving to me in return? Okay, I will give you $100,000. Before you finish saying that, the guy is coming with the coke already. Why? Because if you say, "Oh, get the cocoa for me," and that's it. So He's like, yeah, but why? So as
Right.
soon as you mention the price, the why, he has that on his mind, and sooner than later, whoop, he brings the cocoa to you.
Right.
So in a joking way, but it's how it happens normally in life, in every situation, no? If
Wow.
we don't know the price, if we don't know the reason behind it of why I'm doing what I'm doing or why I will do that, that normally I know I have to do, I mean, we don't know the reason. We are just doing it for fun or just wasting our time, no?
Right.
We are
Right.
just doing it because somebody else told us to do it, and that's not nice.
Yeah, no, that's, I mean,
Yeah,
that's a great example. I loved it. Before you finish saying 100, I'm gonna give you $100,000. The coconut's already there. The cocoa.
yeah,
You're gonna
he's coming down already.
you're gonna make it happen one way or another. You know what your
Definitely.
why is. You're gonna make it happen. I mean, and that
Yeah,
is awesome. And that's, I think that in a small way, or maybe not so small, but in a certain way, you and I are doing that right now on our
definitely.
laptop. Away from home, like you said at the beginning of this podcast, there's so many excuses to not do
Yeah,
this today.
it's
um,
special.
but here we are, on this day, and we talked about it a couple days ago when I was on the road, and he said, "Hey, I told you, I don't know if you want to, maybe we can wait till after the new year,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
have
yeah.
it." And you said, "No, let's do it. Let's do it.
Yeah,
Let's do it now. Before let's finish 2019 strong." And I said, "Wow, that
definitely.
that impacted me, man. That really impacted me." I said, "Wow." Even me, I was thinking, "Well, we could just wait. This is family time and what have you." And but no, I love that. He said, "No, let's finish 2019 strong." And I think that goes back to what you're saying. We know what our why is. We've
Exactly.
began to learn that, and we're going to continue to do it no matter what it takes.
Yeah, and look, we need to give a lot of credit also now at this moment to the people around us, meaning our family, meaning especially our wife. Why?
Right.
Because they might see us at this moment running away from the family and saying, no, you know what? I have this with this guy that I just met a couple of days ago, and this and blah, 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 blah. And because they know what we're going through, they know what our path is, our why, our motivation. They say, you know what? I understand. Go, dale. You understand? So when it should be that the people around you have another mindset, you should have even a discussion
Right.
because now they are spending time, in the living room, and we are just here in our place doing our thing, adding value, putting ourselves in social media, so we are, in position to grow. But yeah, I want to give thanks to them because without it, I mean, we know that we need a team. No, we alone
Yes.
we cannot make it. We can reach fast maybe to one point, but we cannot reach that far as what we want when we have a team. When we have a team, we can go way longer now.
That's, man. Thank you so much for saying that. That's actually 100% accurate. I always start the podcast and I say things like, "We are so glad," and people are like, "What do you mean we? You're the only one on the podcast." But but trust me, I have a team. Like you're saying, I have a team, and you're absolutely right. I think that we both have that same support, because I, same thing. I told my wife when we talked a few days ago. I said, "Hey, right now
Mhm.
when I stop for gas, you go ahead and drive. I'm going to get on this phone call." So I woke her up, so she could drive. And then just today, I said, "Hey, I got this podcast." And she was reminding me this morning, "Don't you have a
Yeah.
podcast at 11 a.m. and you need to get up and get ready?" So it's very much a team thing. And yes, you're absolutely right. We do need to thank and our spouses, and all of those around us that keep pushing, because I know my wife is one of my biggest motivators in the background, pushing me just this morning, reminding me, "You have an 11 o'clock appointment set up." Yes, yes.
Powerful, powerful.
Right. So no, what a great way to conclude this podcast. Looks like we got about 2 minutes left, but that's a great way just to be grateful.
Yes.
When you live your life from a state of gratitude, everything begins to change. I was talking to my kids, to my oldest son today, and I was saying, "You know what, son, when you're just grateful for everything you have, your life begins to change in such a positive way. So
Yeah.
I thank you, Joaquin. I'm super
No,
grateful.
thank you, man. I know it's something simple to do,
Yeah,
being gratitude, but it's also something that most of us take for granted most of the time.
right.
We really don't know the power that gratitude has. And believe me, I discovered it in the last year because of past past experiences normally
Yeah.
that put us in position that we have to do our homework. So there we find our beauty, our beliefs, our shining points, and thanks to the gratitude, I believe I'm really in the right path.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's awesome. That's powerful. And maybe in a future podcast we'll talk about really the true power of gratitude and what kind of things we've seen in our own lives just by changing our mindsets and being grateful for so much. I think that would be a great topic as well to talk about.
Yeah, for sure, definitely. No, thank you for having me. Thanks for the invitation. Thanks for also putting that granito de arena for making this happen. No, thank you.
Yes, yes, I love that. The granito de arena. That's a little grain of sand, and that's what we all have a little bit, un granito de arena, and it adds up to a whole, to a big old thing that you can't imagine. So thank you so much,
Yeah.
Joaquin. I don't know if there's anything else you want to share before we end the podcast.
Yeah, I would like to invite your audience to follow up to my content. Normally, we are also in Facebook as well as in YouTube, posting videos every week or twice per week about the same topic that we are talking at this moment. No motivational videos, nice topics that I believe it can empower us and it can give us some guidance to our life. No?
Yes, please. I definitely highly recommend Joaquin Terrero. Look him up on those social media platforms, Facebook, YouTube. I
Instagram as well. Yeah.
Instagram as well. That's right. So hopefully
Yeah.
soon, Man Nation will also be on Instagram. But yeah, please follow Joaquin Terrero on all of those social media platforms. I've watched most, if not all, of your videos, and let me tell you, that all that motivational content, it really helps. It really makes a difference in our lives. So I highly recommend subscribe, like, share, and subscribe to his channel, Joaquin Terrero.
Yeah, and there will be a lot of great things coming up from these two together. So stay tuned.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's right. It's only going to grow from here.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. No, well, that's awesome. I really appreciate the opportunity, Joaquin, and thank you for your time. Thank you, everybody who joined us on today's podcast. This is episode 5 of Man Nation Podcast, where we talk about some of the challenges we face each and every single day as men and how we overcome those challenges. So, thank you to everybody, and Joaquin, it was a great pleasure. But we'll definitely be in touch.
Definitely, my honor. No, Merry Christmas to everybody. Ciao.
Yes, Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.